Hey guys, welcome in. Today we are going to look at Canva. So I've been playing around with Canva. My wife actually had Canva for school. And so I started playing around in her account and I was quickly like, well, this is really cool. I've got to get my own account. And so we have signed up for a pro account. We're going to go through and talk about how to use it for content creation today. So stay tuned. We will have things on creating a new board, where to use Canva, how to find things, importing your own designs, and creating things that you can use for your videos on YouTube or TikTok or Instagram stories. So stay tuned and we will go through some of the workflow here on Canva. All right, so here we are in Canva and we are on projects page, but let's go back to the home page real quick and let's look at what we can do with Canva. So there's a number of different categories that you can choose from. It'll give you suggestions based on things you've designed or just based on things that a lot of people make. So if you want to design a t-shirt, which I've done one or two myself, it gives you the template. So 14 by 18 inches is a normal design size for a t-shirt. We actually print our own at home, and so that's a pretty standard design. I typically use actually 10 by 9 or 10 by 10, but the max you want to go on a normal t-shirt is about 14 by 18, and you can scale that down. You really don't need to go much bigger. You can create infographics. We can create posts to our Instagram stories, our Facebook posts, create videos. You can do animated social media, so we'll play a little bit with that. But today what I'm using this for is actually to create transitions between scenes on YouTube. So I'll show you a couple that I've been working on, and then I'll show you a couple that we can create for this, and then you'll actually see the final product throughout this video as we transition to different sections. So we talked a little bit about Canva. It's a design website. It has a lot of assets built in. When you get the pro version, you can use a lot of these elements for your designs. So let's go ahead and talk about how to use Canva. So the first project I'm going to do, you can look at templates here, and you're going to have a lot of different things that are going to be presented to you. So you can figure out any of these that you want to do. You can browse templates, or you can just go to create a design up here in the top right, and you can pick what you want to do. So today I want to do, let's go ahead and do a video. So there's a couple different ways you can do video. So you can determine what you want to use in your video from the section over here on templates. If you see anything you would like, you can add. And once you click, you can actually see there's 4 different sections of video here. So you can add all of these, and you can apply it to the pages. So it creates you 4 pages. And basically, it did that in reverse order. So you can just drag and drop these however you want. So you can start 3, 2, 1, and away you go. And if you want to play your video, just hit play. Plays it from the frame you're at. So there's a little scrubber down here. And there's also fill handles on the side. So you can take these and you can pull them in and make them shorter. These videos actually have music, and they're tied together with transitions. There we go. So you got 3, 2, 1. You can do a countdown. You can do 1, 2, 3 to count up, however you want to do that. So it's very easy. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to expand this back out, and we're going to go back here. So when I'm going to make a new transition, I want to use, sometimes I like to pick a background color. Maybe it's the theme for the video. So if I'm doing something in my own brand, I like purple a lot. So I'll go ahead and hit purple. And we've got a lot of different templates here to use. If you don't want to use templates, go ahead and go down to elements. And if you search purple, go ahead and use recent keyword purple, you can get backgrounds. Now you have graphics, you have photos. So you can do a still. And we can basically, if you click an element behind, you can hit delete, get rid of it. If you don't want the text, you can get rid of that. Now this is your background, right? If you right click it, you can actually set image as background. Now you've got that as your element, right? So we can click on this, get rid of this. This can be your element. We can delete that as our background. We can make this our background. And there you go. We have a static background. Magic recommendations. So if maybe you're in the same kind of color scheme, or maybe you're in the same family of design, but you want a different color. The magic recommendations will start to give you like this slate background. And if you're like, hey, maybe I like slate better, you can take this, you can right click, replace background. Now you got slate. So if you wanted to use this, you wanted to drop in your photo, so photo design, cool story. If you import a photo, you can actually edit photos in Canva and you can remove backgrounds. Very helpful if you want to place it on something different, if you want to replace a background. So if you're doing that for a picture you have and you want to put that into, let's say you're doing a thumbnail for YouTube, you can drop that in, replace the background, and Bob's your uncle there. So anyways, magic recommendations are really cool. You can test any of them that you want. If you want to right click it, you can do see more like this. You can star it. It'll add it to your filters as something you would do as a favorite. What I actually wanted to do was look at videos. So we've got a video backgrounds. Basically, I'm going to delete these two and we're going to go to videos. So now video backgrounds are motion. And if you play, you can see the motion. Now the music is still added in there. And you can see the music file is right there. If you don't want the music file, you can delete that as well. When you click on it, you can always add that back in later if you want. We have different pages here. So we can copy. It's telling me to Control V. All right, we'll Control V. Got it. Anyways, the style is still on here. The writing is still on here. All of those elements are applied as layers. And so really all you're doing is replacing the background. So if you need to, you can get rid of those layers. So we have a consistent background. If we hit the three little dots, you can see kind of what's going on with the image. You can always click it. You can click this, delete that if you want to replace it. Set videos background. You can play from here and see which one do you like better, right? So you got this one, it's kind of wavy, kind of blurry. But this one, it's kind of smoky, right? It's like fire. It's like purple fire. If we go scroll all the way down, maybe we can find some magic recommendations, but it looks like none for here. If you want to change something up, you can search audio as well. You can pull in audio. Now, to be fair, I have not seen if this audio can be played on YouTube. So you might want to be cautious about what audio you pull into here and make sure that you're not going to get a copyright strike, because the things in Canva can be used mostly for personal use. If you're creating a brand, doing something, everything is cleared as far as the resources go, but I'm not quite sure on the audio, and that would be on you just to, check that out and make sure. I will keep checking in Canva to see if there's any terms and conditions on what music you can use, what's been licensed, what's royalty free, and things like that. But you do have the option. So if you're doing something personal and you want to look for electronic music, there you go. You can add in a song. We're going to go ahead and delete that. You can move the song around on the bottom below the track. So you have a video track header. You also have an audio track header that goes right below. You want to add some notes. These are presenter notes. So if you want to send this link to somebody, you're actually doing a presentation, you can see how many people have seen your presentation. You can play from the beginning. This will pop up a mini video player, which you can scroll through. All right. So we're still picking our elements. We get off of notes. We can go back to elements by clicking on the left. We can look for videos that we were in. If we search videos, click there. You can search for nature videos. So if you want to have something like this as a transition, you can replace the background with that guy. Now we've got a nice 2-minute video of some fog. You could actually use this as your transition. Let's see, what else do we have? We have, looks like some people walking here. Check that out here. So it looks like some drone footage. There's a bridge, it's an overlook. It's like we might be somewhere in Europe. Who knows, right? But anyways, that's an element that we can drag onto there. We're gonna delete these other pages for now because we don't really need them. But let's stick to the purple theme. We're gonna do purple smoky and possibly copy paste our elements. So now they're all the same, 10.7 seconds. They may not need to be that long, so we can do each one and pull them in. And you can see right above my cursor, you can see the time limit. So 7.5 seconds, 7.5 seconds. Pull this one down, 7.5 seconds there. Okay. If you want to duplicate that, you can always click the 3 buttons here, or you can hit Control D and it'll duplicate it. Same thing you would do in PowerPoint. Control D will copy and paste. It'll copy down a slide and fill it with the same content. So now what about text? We have our video and it's playing, but this is a transition, right? It's a transition between videos. So we want to add some text. So you can go through here and you can look for something like robot. You want to look for a robot style. This gave me Roboto, so it gave me the font, which is fine. If you want to look for something like an example of, you want to look for art. Art will give you some different type of fonts that would maybe be a little bit different than normal fonts. So if we added something called Nectarine, Nectarine's going to add in there, and we can change the font to, let's do 88. If you grab the handle on the side, it will do the scaling for you. And then it also has, you can see right in the middle, it's turning pink right there. It'll show you the middle of where to place this. It usually does the vertical one too. I'm not really getting the vertical line for some reason, but anyways, so there we go. That is placed on our third. We can copy this element, put it here, and we can put it here. And because we have it centered, let's say our first thing, transitions is going to be, we're going to say intro. And then for this, we're going to say gameplay. Get like a 70s vibe from this. It's actually kind of cool. We're going to say character. Overview. And there's actually no lowercase for this one. So we're going to pop that in there. All right. So now we have these as transitions, right? You can see my playhead is at down here at the bottom. I'm at 0 of 22. You can drag your playhead and review what it's going to do. And right now we're not in the final form. Right now we are in the edit form. So we can go ahead and play this. You can see this is going to play for 7.5 seconds on each one. But you can make these, you can edit these down once you get the file. You can actually splice this up in Davinci or whichever program you're using. So we're going to take these, we're going to export them, and we're going to pop them into a video and see how they work. All right, so now that we've got these created, we're actually going to download these, and it's going to give us all 3 pages. You can tell which ones you want to download. So if you made 3 pages of your video and you only want to download 1, MP4 is going to give us our video format. If you want to do JPEGs, it'll just give you straight shots of each video. So like a clip. The best thing to do is just do the MP4. Resolution is already set at 1920 by 1080 because that's where we set the canvas when we started the video. I'm going to hit download. All right. Now that we get the file downloaded, we are going to find it. And Canva gives it the name that you downloaded. So we're going to pull this in here. and hit edit. And I'm in Davinci, so this is what I normally use. Use Premiere. Probably very similar steps. So there's two different ways to do this, but really if you do it as a video in Canva, it's going to download it as one file. If you change your project to something like a whiteboard or something, it's going to, you're going to be able to separate the files. So anyways, so now that we're in here, we're going to look at these. And remember, they changed after 7.5 seconds. So you want to find the frame that they change, and we're just going to cut. And then we're going to find the frame where it changed again, and we're going to hit cut. And the reason I make them 7.5 seconds long, you can do 5 seconds, you can do 10, you can do a million. It doesn't really matter. You want them longer than you would normally have your transition for. So transition usually takes anywhere from half a second to 1.5, depending on the words and animations you want to pop in here. So once we do that, you can elevate these and add a new track. You can pull these up to a separate track if you want your main video on track 1, which should be right here. Track 2 can be transitions, rename that. And basically we have that to now separate wherever we want to. So if we want to pull these farther down, you'll go into, and then where we have gameplay here, we just want to pull this in just a little bit so we don't actually say gameplay. And then here, pull it in a little bit so we don't actually say character overview. Your character overview might be first, so you can pull that in and just do that how you want to. We can pop in some actual game footage. If we go over here, give me 1 second, I'll find some footage real quick. All right, we got some footage we pulled in here, so we're gonna drag it to the timeline, and now we can do this right here. So we can pull these in, and if you want to add some background music, just go ahead and right click. We'll add a track. You can add a stereo track, and you can pop your music down here. Rename this, call it music. Track 1 is going to be audio for the video. So we have our intro. Probably just want to do just a couple seconds, right? We're going to pull this, move it over here. Drag it to the end of that timeline. And then as we go character overview, we want to split off, do another little transition. So we're going to cut it, do this, pull this in a little bit, do that. And then you can see as you transition, you can do that. You can go into your character overview. You can add transitions to it if you'd like to. So you can go to video transitions. You can do a cross dissolve on that guy, cross dissolve on that guy. Now you can do a nice little transition, but there we go. You've got a cool video transition screen between each one of these. Well, we don't want to cut that one. And pull this over just a little bit. You want to shrink that down and do the same thing. You can grab the cross dissolve, pop it there, dissolve it out if you want to, dissolve it in, and there you go. So it's an easy way to add some cool elements to a video to break up the transition a little bit without having to do it like in the editor here. You can actually do it from Canva. So I'm going to pop back over to Canva. We're actually going to animate some of the text that comes in and give it a little more life, and then show you how to do a different project where we just do it from scratch. And that way you can separate the video files. All right, so now we're back over in Canva. We're actually going to talk about animating some of the text, and we're going to pull in some design elements here. So we click on the text, and first of all, we'll go over effects. So you can do something like neon, add a little glow. You can add a little glitch to the outside. I see it gives it a nice little purple and teal tinge to it. You can change that tinge. You can also change the direction of it, make it go all the way around the words. So it's kind of trippy. Kind of depends on how offset you want it to. You can make it wider, lower. So you can add some fun things to your text. You have something called hollow. So basically any chunky I like to call it chunky. You can make it thick letters. You can make these really thin. This is very helpful because it's really hard to do in other software that I've seen, where you basically have to take it, you know, chop some of the pixels out of the middle. By doing it in Photoshop, this can do it very easily. You can do splice, which adds basically almost like a drop shadow to the back of it. If we do none, it takes about to regular. A little shadow, so you can do the offset of your shadow. So really nice text things you can do really easily if you want to jazz up your transitions, or if you're doing this for your thumbnail for YouTube, you can really add a lot to that. And then your drop shadow can actually have colors too, so you can change the color of your drop shadow. And it's the same thing you do in Photoshop, except I think it's way easier. And then if you do lift doesn't have too much of an effect unless you actually have a clear background. So nothing there for now. Let's go ahead and go with shadow. Let's give it a you can add a custom color here. So if you want your drop shadow to be your own custom color, just hit the picker. Once you're done there, you've got your color, you're good to go. Now let's go to animate. So go to the animate panel. We have a lot of different animations. So if you hover over the animation, it shows you what it's going to do. So we have basic rise, swipe, fade in. We have ascend, which is kind of fun. We have burst. We have block. Lots of really cool things. We have tumble. That one's kind of fun. Neon kind of gives it that glitch effect. You know, comes in, comes out. We got a scrapbook effect, which that basically kind of tick, 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 kind of made it bounce, right? If we check out, we have skate. So lots of really cool things you can do with your text. And once you do that, you can actually go to the other ones and you can do the same thing. So if you want them all to do skate, if you do it to the first one, the best thing to do in your design, if you want them all to do the same thing, basically you will use the first slide here, the first video. So you would do intro, and you would give it any effects that you want to. So you could do the shadow, and you could do the color. So if we want to give it that color, we give it that color. Boom, no big deal. And then once you do that, oh, you can actually blur it too. So you want to give that drop shadow a little bit of a blur. Let's say we want to do that, and then we want to animate it. So let's do a simple animation. We'll do burst. Now, if we copy that element, so make sure click on that element, hit Control C, hit Control V. Now we delete this one. If I bring this in, it should have the same effects, which does shadow, the color, the blur, and it has the burst intro. So now when we go through here, we can scrub the play header. You can see it burst. We have intro, and then we do that there. Now, all we have to do is just write what it's going to be. So you can do gameplay. Is what we had. And that way, you're not having to click the buttons and find it each time. You can just copy and paste this as a template and then change the text of the words. As always, you can go back, click on it. You can change the text type. If you don't like it, you can change it to something else. It will keep what you did to the text, but it will give it the new text. It will just give it the same effects and the same intro, same outro, and everything like that. So we click on burst. So you can change these. You can do bounce. You can have it block in. And then here we have this one that we did here, a few different effects there. So that's a way to add a little bit more fun to your project if you're doing these for transitions. You can also use the same thing for a thumbnail. You would just download it differently. So when you hit share, you can hit download, and you would download this as a JPEG. And so whatever you do on here, if you're like, hey, I kind of like that, but I want to use it for my thumbnail still, and maybe add something to it, go ahead and just download it as a JPEG. All right. So now we'll go back to home. Kind of look at one that I created earlier. This one's called Purple Transitions for YouTube. So I created this, started with a whiteboard. That was my template. And we went to elements. I typed purple. I looked for the video. It was purple. And you can see these are pages. These are like a storyboard. So we have skills, we have skins, we have gameplay. And these are the ones I'm going to add into my T3 Arena videos. But when I hit play, you can see it's 36 seconds. It's going to play the whole thing like a video. And obviously I can scrub ahead and get to the different. Let's watch a transition come in. There we go. So it's going to do that for the whole thing. I'm going to import this as a video. But if I hit download and I do MP4, I'm going to do all 3 videos in the same one. So we're going to hit download there. And once it's ready, we'll go ahead and pop that into Davinci. All right, we're back over in Davinci. We're going to open up what we just downloaded. Find it here, called it Purple Transitions. So we're going to give it the same treatment, right? So we're going to pop this into a different track. And pop it in right there. So these transitions are going to go in between multiple segments of my file. So skins, I'm just going to cut it here. Skills, I will cut here and here. Make sure I don't bleed over. Yeah, we're good there. I actually want it at the transitions though, so I'm going to undo both of those. I kind of want those, I want the transitions to come in. We're going to hit that. We're going to cut it there. And then skins, we're going to scrub until we see skills pop in. So we're going to cut that there. And then cut it there. So that should be good, right? Yep, skills, got it. Nailed it. And then we're going to pull that in right there. And then for gameplay, hang on there. Gameplay, we're gonna go about right there. And then we're gonna pull this one in about right here. So now we have a gameplay transition, really fun, really bouncy. We have skills transition, fun, bouncy. And we have skins transition. So in this video, I'm looking at the skins of a different character. We're looking at the different skills that they use. And we're looking at some of the gameplay that we have there. And we're looking at some of the gameplay that we have here. So we got that to pop in as well. And there you go. So that is 2 different ways to create pretty much the same project. It depends on whether you like the video timeline view or whether you like the page view. The page view has an advantage of being able to do this where you can just duplicate the page. And then you can go over here and change your elements. Now you're going to notice 2 other things that we'll go over. So under elements, you have basically, you click in here and you can basically find anything that you need. So you have grids, frames, tables, stickers, all kinds of things if you want to start from scratch. If you want to look up gaming, you can find things like GIFs, you can find images, you can find icons, you can go to graphics only. You can look up photos, so you can pop these in. If you want to use this as your background, it won't be animated, but that's your background. You can move this up here. You can call this controllers. Maybe you're doing a controller video and you're doing an overview. You can do that, or you can call this sticks if you're doing a sticks review, right? So it's very easy to change these up. Obviously that would make that a static image instead of a video file, but obviously you have many different things that you can do. We can pull in elements like this, and it doesn't even have to be the full background. You can have that. You can pop this into here if you're doing a thumbnail. So she's enjoying a video game. You can talk about gaming, arcades, that. going to be too big, so we're going to drag that out a little bit. And you could change the color of the text and go here. Maybe you want to change it to a nice blue. I don't know if blue is really going to show up, so we might do like a nice purple. Maybe purple will show up. There you go. And it's got some of the effects that we did to this already. I applied a neon effect. If you want to apply a background effect, that will let you see it a lot easier. Go back to effects. You can change the transparency color. You can change that to blue, and you give it a nice transparency. And all of a sudden you've got an element that you can put here, and it's not too distracting. You can actually round those corners out. You can make it curved. So this would go kind of, if you had more head space, you could actually pop it there, and I guess you could put it right there if you'd like to. So lots of different things that you can do in here to create your thumbnails as well for an image. And then you can have everything in one place. You can create a thumbnail on page 1. You can create a video element on page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Export the whole thing, pop it into your timeline on your video, and then there you go. You have elements that you can use. I want to show you 2 other things before we go. I want to talk about uploads. So uploads is things that you can upload. So you can upload video files, audio files, and images, and you can use these freely in your projects. So if you want to use your gameplay footage and import it into here, not really sure how long it would take. You may want to chop it up and actually do that in your editor first before you pop it in here, but you could add elements on top of your video in here if you're more comfortable. And the bonus thing that you get out of here is you can use a ton more elements. And so if you're doing a video and you're gaming and you're looking for a knife, maybe you got a knife kill or something like that, you can easily pop in a reference super quickly and design, rotate, move instead of doing it in a video editor. And you have hundreds of things to choose from. And that's probably the biggest advantage. If you don't want to do this directly to your own video, but you still want to create the same elements, you may have to resize them when you put them in your timeline, but just make sure your canvas is 1920 by 1080, and then you can pull those design elements into your video as a JPEG. But if your video was already in here, it'd be a lot easier to size it, figure out where it needs to go and where it needs to pop in and pop out. And then that's how you would treat that right there. So one more thing that we'll look at is styles. So if you pick a style family, it will basically give you a bunch of different colors and elements and things like that that you can use. This is more for doing like maybe business design or website design and things like that. So you can keep your text, you keep your colors and everything in the same family. So I don't recommend it too much for doing something for a gaming video or like a how-to video, because you may end up with elements that you just don't want to use all the time. And when in doubt, always start with a template. So you can grab anything from these templates and get started. If you want to hit gaming, YouTube gaming videos, you can look for templates in there and off you go. So there's an enormous amount of resources and utilities in here. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial on how to use this for your transitions and for your thumbnails. And I hope your projects go well. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about it. I'm still exploring some of the features myself, but I'm happy to answer how I'm using this for my workflow, and I hope it helps you. Till next time.